In a casino, it's mathematically impossible to beat the house because all games are slightly designed to favor it. Think of it like a slightly rigged coin toss. If your money has a 51% chance of landing tails instead of 50%, of course you'll still win often by betting on heads. But if you play long enough, the game is statistically designed to favor tails over heads, so you will inevitably lose. The only real way to beat a casino is to quit the moment you accidentally get ahead. Otherwise, that tiny disadvantage the casino gives you builds up over time and leads to losses. This situation is called the law of large numbers. Of course, some of the people in the casino will win. But since all the games are rigged in favor of the house, the total losses of everyone gambling throughout the day will always be higher than the total winnings. For example, if there are 10,000 people in the casino, and if each of them spends an average of even $1,000, even a tiny 2% house edge would let the casino make $200,000 in profit just today. Casinos may look glamorous, fun, and luxurious, but they are a highly cunning monster. Casinos use various psychological tactics to keep players inside longer and increase their chances of losing money. No clocks or windows. Casinos never have clocks or windows, so players can't tell how much time has passed. Casinos are often designed like mazes, making it hard for people to find the exits, which increases the chances they'll wander into other games. Constant noise and lights. These distract from other cues like the sense of time and create the feeling that someone is winning big here. Complimentary service while you play. This creates the illusion that you're getting something back for the money you're losing. The games are designed with a low house edge, around 5%, so that players almost win but just miss out. This also creates the feeling of, I'll definitely win the next round. Keeping players at the game longer. Using chips instead of cash makes it harder to keep track of exactly how much money is being spent, and makes the lost money feel like it isn't real. All of these and much more are part of cleverly planned psychological tactics. Don't fall for them. But today, despite all of this, you and I are going to beat the house. If you've watched movies like Casino Royale, 21, or Runner Runner, you've probably heard that card counting is one way to beat the game. But just like those movies sometimes show, casinos aren't stupid. They're not about to lose money to a few guys who know a bit of math. In the games, 4 to 8 decks are used instead of just one, and the cards are perfectly shuffled by a machine after each hand. Dealers are trained to place the cut cards deeper into the deck, making counting even harder. And of course, every move you make is watched by thousands of cameras placed all around the casino. Card counting isn't actually illegal, but it's also not illegal for the casino to kick someone out. Beating you up would be illegal, of course. But who would you even go to and complain? But we won't be counting cards, we're going to play roulette. Because roulette is a much simpler game. Roulette is a pure game of chance that requires no skill. At a roulette table, there are 36 numbers, 18 red and 18 black. You bet on these numbers. For example, you might place $5 on number 17, or $5 on 17 and $10 on number 3 if you like. I'll explain the other combinations in a bit, but in short, you can spread your money on the table however you like. Then the famous roulette wheel is spun and a ball is launched. Whoever bet on the number where the ball lands wins and everyone else loses. What lets the casino tilt the odds in its favor are the green zeros on the left side of the wheel and the table. Normally, if you bet on one of the 36 numbers, you have a 1 in 36 chance of winning. And the payout is 36 times your bet, a profit of 35 units. The problem is, with 2 green zeros on the table, there are 38 numbers in total. The actual chance of winning isn't 1 in 36, but 1 in 38, about 5.6% lower. However, the payout is still 36 times, not 38 times. This tiny 5% difference is what gives the casino a 5% edge on every game. For example, even though half of the numbers from 1 to 36 are black on a roulette table, the actual probability of black coming up isn't 50%. Because of the green zeros, it's around 47.4%. So the house always wins in the long run. Now let's get to the main question. So how can we use all of this mathematically? The logic is bet on wagers with close to a 50% chance. red, black, odd, even. Now let's say we choose red out of red and black. You'll always bet only on red. But there's a very important rule. Every time you lose a bet, you'll double your next bet. Now, for example, let's say the minimum roulette bet is $1. You start by placing $1 on red. If red comes up, no problem. But if green or black comes up, on the next round you'll bet double, $2. Now if red comes up, no problem again. At this point, our profit is $1. At this point, we go back to betting $1 again. I bet $1, black came up. I bet $2, black came up again. I bet $4, black came up again. Feeling a bit tense now, aren't we? There's nothing we can do. We raised it to $8 and black came up again. Following the strategy, this time we raise it to $16. Oh, and red comes up. Because we bet $16, we get $32, but our actual profit is still just $1. With this strategy, if you eventually win in the chain, you always make a profit equal to the initial bet you started with. For example, $1 if you started with $1. Although this strategy would eventually win on a fair table as a mathematical certainty, it has two major problems. Doubling the bet causes the amount to grow rapidly 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Roulette spins are completely independent. Just because black comes up 10 times doesn't guarantee red will come next. The player's available money must be analyzed correctly and a decision should be made on when to break the chain. For example, if we had stopped before betting the $16 in that previous chain, we would have risked losing $15 from the $1, plus $2 plus $4 plus $8 bets. Then I would have had to win back that $15 with $1 bets one by one. And even if it took an hour, the casino would have kept me playing for hours with the "I'll win next" mindset. That's the trick of the whole thing. The second problem, casinos aren't stupid. Casinos set maximum bet limits to prevent strategies like this from working. For example, with a $5,000 max bet, the 14th bet, $8,192 exceeds the limit, forcing you to accept the $8,191 loss. Also, a common mistake among gamblers is the gambler's fallacy or Monte Carlo fallacy. It's the belief that after a streak of black-red is now due to come up. However, the probability of each spin is still around 47%. In mathematics, there's a concept called return to the mean. On a fair table over a long enough time, results will inevitably approach the average. For example, the chance of black coming up 1,000 times in a row is extremely low. But the player can't know when this correction will happen, so this information has no practical use. No matter what you do, don't fool yourself. In the end, the casino always wins. The secret of the 4,000 physicists who flocked to Las Vegas in 1986 and gave the casino its worst week ever is this. They took advantage of the cheap or free hotel rooms offered by casinos but hardly gambled at all. The best strategy to win at gambling is not to play at all. For more, don't forget to like the video and subscribe.